Good morning and happy Sunday. Welcome back to the Sunday Football Review. Today's theme is big football hits because, heads will roll. Heads will roll. Did you see Kyler Murray? Did you see the Jets game?
What was your former Miami teammate? What was his word?
You gotta go back to last episode.
Yeah, I was like, what was that? I guess that's the theme of the episode.
Kickoff what? Anyway, please tell me you saw the Kyler Murray hit with the Jets game. If not, check this out.
No.
Are getting exploited by Murray in this offense. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
my
knock your dick off.
Quincy Williams.
Oh my God.
That is wild.
That's too good.
And again, his head just
Are getting exploited by Murray in this offense. Oh my goodness.
Dude, imagine if that was Tua.
Oh, well, speaking of Tua, did you see he threw an interception and then
And he went for the tackle.
I went up.
Browns
I went
fans
up
got
to that dude
scared
that
there,
intercepted
too.
Me, and asked him, like, bro. I went up to that dude that intercepted me, and asked him, like, bro, you couldn't just like ran out of bounds or like cut back. It was like you seen me and I seen you. Like you wanted to just run me over. He told me after the game he's like there's no room there. Like there was nowhere else to go. So he got to do what he got to do to help his team win games. And I wasn't planning on using my head to go hit.
I love how he's socially aware too. He's like, dude, they're gonna ask me about that. Like after the play, like, what are you doing? Football, man.
He shouldn't be using his head at all after all the injuries he's had.
But again, competitors are going to compete.
Yeah.
And I got to stop this man from bringing back my touchdown.
It's hard to take the dog out of the fight when you're out there. Like when you're out there, like
you
you
said the same thing.
He's going, we got zingers this week, fellas. We got zingers. Nobody's safe. like you don't tell me what the theme is. I'm sitting here. I was like, yeah, what are we going to talk about?
Well, this was a pretty lackluster week.
It was. I was thinking that too.
Well, even just like this Thursday game, the Commanders and the Eagles, talk about a deflated game.
Yep.
Just nothing happened. I tried putting a parlay together on passing yards, Saquon runs, nothing. No ball. The ball didn't move. And we're not talking about two good defenses. So this was just a totally deflated game.
Yeah, it was just a boring game.
It's it.
Just a boring game.
Last week was, but now again, maybe because the Browns weren't playing, but
honestly, it kind of made last weekend really like I just got to relax.
So relaxing.
bye week has become so nice.
Bye week it's like a small victory for this team. It's like a small victory because we don't get many victories. We don't get many victories.
When your victories are draft picks, that means you have no victory.
I do think we're winning today because we're off of the bye week, but
I hope not, because right now we're at 4th overall pick that I heard on the radio this morning. So if we keep winning, that means we.
We're not going to keep winning, but this is one of those games we actually might be able to win.
Well,
we got a pretty rough.
There were a lot of games this year that we definitely were able to win, and we beat ourselves.
Yep.
I think we are the better team.
Do you think it was because Deshaun was our quarterback?
Yes.
You think maybe? Whoa, Doug. Whoa, didn't even hesitate.
Hard, yes.
He didn't. He just was like, yeah. He was biting at the tongue.
Well, the first game Jameis is thrown in, we ended up winning. So obviously something was going on. We looked the best we've ever looked in that one game Deshaun took over.
Right.
So.
And he looked just about as bad the next week. But
that's okay.
Jameis will live by the sword and die by the sword, and that's why I like him.
That's right.
Like,
and even in the last week's game where we lost, as long as I'm not waking up with shame and embarrassment before even the ball is snapped, then you know what? We're ahead.
I wake up like that, feeling like that all the time already. I don't need my football team to give me that. I don't need you to give me reason for shame.
And so again, it was refreshing having a week off to just watch other people have, disappointment. I mean, even the Buccaneers had a rough go of it.
The way this season has gone for you was all excitement, and now you're like, you want to golf?
Yeah, Sunday football has turned into listening to it on the phone in a golf cart.
Interception? Shame.
Shame. Well, you know what? Today we've got a lot in store for the back end, so we could probably just start getting into it. let's review the games that are coming up this week, and then we could get into our parlay pick because both Will and I missed our parlay pick, so we're going to have to smash an ice for punishment. So first, let's dive into this week. We're looking at week 11. Again, the Commanders and the Eagles game was just a stinker.
Stinky. It was just stinky. I didn't think it'd be a stinky boy, but it was a stinker.
Going to our first 1 o'clock game, though, Packers should dominate the Bears.
Packers. Yeah, Bears lost on that Hail Mary a few weeks ago, and they like unraveled. It was like things were kind of looking good, and all of a sudden it was like the Jenga piece went out, and they just collapsed.
But I want to give the Bears some credit. To their benefit, it isn't so much just they're a terrible team. They just had a bad run of it. So I do think they'll give the Packers a rough, a tough go at it, but the Packers are the better team for sure. Jags, Lions. Oh my goodness. Lions. We had our buddy Ricky put into our chat asking about Lions running yardage. Like, we looking at 70 yards over, under. Yeah. They're gonna be dancing on them.
I am curious about that game. Did Trevor Lawrence cut his hair?
I have to assume no.
I think the Lions are taking that one. I think they're taking it.
I don't think he's ever cutting his hair.
That's the bit, Doug.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Like
Raiders, Dolphins. All right.
A stinky boy in Miami. We got a stinker out there. At least the ladies probably look good. I'm going to take the Dolphins, though.
Definitely.
But, wow.
Home game. They're the better team. Now that they got Tua back, they should be dancing on the Raiders. But, who knows? They seem to drop the ball on themselves more often than anybody else. Looking at the Rams and the Patriots.
Pats, Rams, and Foxborough. I am going to take the Rams.
Me too. Rams are the better team.
Better coach, better quarterback.
And there are solid holes in the Patriots. There isn't chemistry there. There isn't a player to rally behind. It's just kind of like a flat tire rolling through.
Got Browns. The Browns.
2-7, 3-7.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go with the 2-7 team. I'm gonna go with the 2-7 Cleveland. I think Jameis is gonna play pretty well today. I think the defense is gonna cause Derek Carr to look bad. I don't think he's gonna look good. I don't think he's that good to begin with, but I think he's gonna look pretty overwhelmed today.
Jameis has a lot to prove, and I think he'll.
Does he though? Does he?
In New Orleans.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Oh yeah, the Jameis revenge game. This is the game of the week. This is a game. Everybody's tuning in for the Jameis revenge game. No, does Jameis have anything to prove? You're Jameis.
Hell no.
You're Jameis. If you get a 1-year, 2-year contract out of this, good for you, man. Good for you. Get all those crab legs you want, man. You can buy them yourself.
Well, it's like Flacco. Flacco performed well and got a contract this year,
Yeah, but Joe's not playing that well this year.
I know,
Jameis
but that's the
is
point.
not
Play
Joe.
well this year. Jameis gets protection for next year, even if he plays bad next year.
I think we should resign Jameis even regardless because do not do what we did with Flacco and let a competent enough quarterback just walk.
And
Yeah.
let's also agree the added piece that he's bringing is locker room chemistry.
Yeah, he's charismatic.
It's kind of like you had a whole bunch of nasty whitey sliders, White Castle sliders before you go to bed. You feel sick. You've got toxic pit in your stomach with acid, and he's the Tum. Our locker room is just that nasty, 3 a.m.
Acidic pit.
That cheesy gordita crunch just isn't sitting right.
And Jameis is our Tum.
The 5 Christmas sales and the cheesy gordita crunch just ain't sitting right, man. But thank God for famous anus. You know what? I will say this about Jameis. I think if you and the lads were to go out and say Vegas, have a hangover like night, he would be that one that's so goddamn positive in the morning after, like, we could let's go put like 100 on black, and you want to kill him, like you want to kill him. Like now's not the time or place, Jameis. Jameis, you've thrown 4 picks. Stop being positive.
Tyson's Tiger.
Yeah,
Jameis.
Guilty. Get him out of here.
So I guess for once we get to pick the Browns again.
For once, what do you mean for
once?
once? Every week we pick the Browns.
All right, this is actually a really cool game. I'm going to be excited to watch the Ravens versus Steelers. This is the two dominant forces. tied at,
This is for the AFC North.
This is for the AFC North.
This is probably for the game I'll decide it. I don't know. I don't know if they played each other yet.
No.
So the losers still could if they keep in it, but this is a good idea of who's going to win the North, and I'm taking Pittsburgh.
You're going with Pittsburgh?
Taking Pittsburgh.
Wow. Yeah, I mean,
I think
are the better franchise.
I won't even say it's franchise. I think you're playing in Heinz, and Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson's not getting enough credit. Russell Wilson took over for Fields. He has played well. He's played pretty well. Lamar's Lamar. Derrick Henry's Derrick Henry. But I think Pittsburgh's defense is really it's gonna be a wall.
Yeah, I
think it's gonna be a wall.
I think the Steelers are the better franchise all around. You've got a stronger offense. You've got a lot of support around them, an offensive line that you can rely on. And it's not that the Ravens are missing those pieces either.
No.
But it's an all-around perfect picture from administration, coaching, upstairs in the booth, watching, all around. They've got all their pieces, and it goes to show. This season, more than anything, is showing their stride.
I was actually watching SportsCenter before I came here, and they said Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh, they have like the second most like head-to-head meetings as like coaches.
Really?
Yeah.
Because they've stayed at the same team for so long that they
Really?
keep playing each other because we're in the same conference. Like, I'm sure if we kept the same coach as long as they had, we'd be up there with them. But
yeah, well, ours is on the hot seat, and I think it's
we're a
burning.
revolving door of coaches.
I think
man.
it's cooking. No, but I think they're like 12 off the next. Which I mean, if you got a thing like 12 like that, I mean they'd have to be the head coach there at least another 5 years.
Right.
So that's going to be a hard record to beat,
again,
but it's still really cool. It's really great to see.
That's it goes to show how pivotal it is to find that one Bill Belichick that you can build around and have for 10, 15, 20. I mean, how long has Tomlin been on the Steelers?
Tomlin's never had a losing season either.
Right.
That's
I mean,
even
think
more
about
impressive.
And
Well, you got to
so-
think he won. We could kind of guess an idea. So Ben won a Super Bowl with Cowher, and then he won a Super Bowl with Tomlin. And he won his Super Bowls probably within the first 5 years of his career. So I'd say he's been coaching since 2008.
2007. January 1st.
Damn, good ass guess. I was like,
It's
it's got to
solid.
be.
So think about that.
Yeah, because Tomlin only has one Super Bowl and Ben's got two. So he won one with Ben.
We're walking into 2025. You're looking at a little less than 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
17 years where a franchise never had to look for a coach.
Not only that,
But
just
no, seriously. Let me finish the
Shocking.
thought. Like, think about how many times we're focusing on recruiting not only a head coach, an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator, like all the pieces around. And that's the head piece is one piece they don't even have to think about. It's been covered for 20 years, so they can focus on quarterbacks and all the other elements that we can't even get together because we can't even figure out the first step.
do you think we're the problem? Do you think we're the toxic one?
Haslam.
Do you think?
Haslam.
Oh my god! Am I the drama?
It really is Haslam's. I mean,
It's deeper than the Haslams too.
It is.
Like it's like we can't just point at the owner and be like it's all your fault. It's
Andrew
like
Berry's a huge piece of it.
it's like you had Dorsey, you had the guy, and you just were like nah.
Right.
And nothing came of that story.
I so desperately need to know why.
He probably looked at Haslam in a meeting and told him to fuck
No.
off
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
over like a decision, and Haslam was like no, because like you never heard anything of
Yeah,
that.
That's what I'm saying. It's clearly one dude, one spoiled brat. I mean, it speaks to we're talking about the Cavs, and my uncle was talking about Dan Gilbert, and he goes, as much as Detroit is his first home, he's perfect for the Cavs, and we find success because he finds a home in Cleveland. He's invested in Cleveland. Yes, Detroit is the first focus, but he's developed so much within Cleveland.
So much.
And you've got even the Dolans. They're doing what they can with what they got. I have a chip on my shoulder because they sold out for money, but that's
The Dolans get a lot of unnecessary hate too. I agree.
look at what they're able to make with what they have. But somebody like Haslam, who, I mean, if it doesn't speak about what type of spoiled brat we're dealing with and how he looks at Cleveland or this community he siphons profit from, the fact that the scoreboard is Tennessee. It's the shape of Tennessee.
Yep.
You're talking about the heart of Cleveland, like our number one sport, the thing that matters to us the most, and the scoreboard, like the centerpiece of all of its entertainment at our home game, is the shape of your home city, because that's where your loyalty is. That's who you care about. So when you make a spoiled brat decision, like I'm going to make my $300 million man dance, whether it's the best player or not, I don't care if that makes 3 million people suffer in the Browns' wake. I'm gonna get what I want. And that's the same thing with Dorsey. We keep seeing the theme, and it's this spoiled brat puts himself first. Winning means nothing as long as we keep giving him our dollars. But hey, build me $1 billion stadium outside of the city.
Oh,
Still all for
speaking
that.
of the stadium, I'm so glad it's moving off that lake.
Yeah.
I'm so glad it's moving off that lake. Simply because you had that stadium there for how long and you built nothing around it. You built nothing around
And
it.
it was built in such a hurry because we had to build it in order to get our team. The agreement with the NFL stated that we had to build the stadium. Well, stadiums take time to build. We rushed this thing and have just been trying to piece it all together as we keep going. Like, it was built without an escalator. They had to add those escalators we have on after the fact. Like, there's all these things we didn't think of because we rushed the design. That's why we need a new stadium. It's just not feasible to stay there for another 30 years like the city wants.
The problem is I've said this for weeks. The Browns have like a Moneyball tactic to the way they do football. And the reason why Moneyball works to a degree in baseball is you could look at baseball statistics and be like, okay, this guy on average gets on base 4 out of 10 times. You don't do that in football. You don't do that in football.
Preach.
That's why when people look at him and people like Gardner Minshew smashing his hand just so he could get an extra year and get out of this college. Yeah, that's a football guy. Because a baseball player doesn't care. If I'm hitting 355 in AAA ball, even for a garbage franchise like the White Sox, I'm going to get called up because I'm playing that well. In football, it's not like that.
Right.
There's a reason they don't let these kids go into like these professional sports young. Like, you have to develop these kids. And the Browns, their Moneyball tactic, don't draft a quarterback if you have a top 5 pick. Even if you have a top 10 pick, you're not going to develop him. Kevin Stefanski can't develop anybody.
Right.
He's going to look at that like Waffle House sheet and be like, run this play. Why isn't this working? And at the end of the week, he's going to be like, we got to look at the tape and get back in there. And you can't develop your quarterback. It doesn't matter. Ask Chicago. Caleb Williams looked okay. Now it looks like he's regressing again. It's his first year. What's happening there? Then you look at Jaden Daniels and be like, there's some rookie kinks to get out of there. But Dan Quinn and them, there's some development there from the start of the year to the end of the year. Browns can't do that. We are incapable of doing that.
Wow.
And that's not a Haslam thing. That's the people he hires, their inability to actually then do the work lower than. Because Haslam just, it's like the Jerry Jones effect. I want to re-sign this guy. I want to sign that guy. Big moves, and we're 2-7. So there's only so much fault I can't put on him. And every point you made, I agree with. But it's like, you look at Dolan. He has no say on how the actual team is run, but he just signs guys.
He hired the right staff.
That's what I mean.
That
Yes.
has developed one of the best farm systems in the league.
Exactly.
So you've got a poor team.
But he doesn't have much of the say in like what players he wants. He's just like, I hired you to do your job, and you do your job well.
But here's the deal. I want to make the argument that this still Haslam's fault because he is misevaluating.
Oh, yes,
the
I
fact
agree.
that these folks aren't doing their job. So you hired these folks that are responsible for developing a new player. We have now known for 20 years you have 0 staff capable of developing.
Has he owned the team that long?
Quarterback since '93. He's been back since this team came back.
I don't think he's owned the team that long though.
Haslam? No, he hasn't owned the team that long.
I think it's been like 10 to 15 years.
The Alfred Lerner, the Lerners owned the team until about like what was it, like 2012?
Yeah, I was like, I don't think Haslam's owned it.
Yeah,
that
the Lerners
long.
owned the team
But
because that's why it's called
Still,
Alfred Lerner
a
Way.
decade and a half, a decade.
Yeah, no, it doesn't negate that point, but it like all of a sudden it hit me. I was like, I don't think Haslam's been here that long.
You're probably right. You are.
The Dolans have. The Dolans are the only ones who've
Yeah,
been here. They never leave.
Well,
They will die. They will die in the stadium.
No, the Jacobs had the team before the Dolans. So even the Dolans haven't been here from the very beginning of a team. The Guns used to own. Yeah.
They've been here
Sad.
since the 50s.
I wish we could have
They've
family
been here
control.
since the 50s. Kill those decrepit
I want
people.
some family control, damn it. At least then they'd have an interest.
Well, it's the Dolan's. What's the biggest Dolan's debate? They don't spend enough money, and it's like, yeah, because this team doesn't have enough money.
And they don't need to, though. They
That's the
prove
way.
it. They
Yeah,
don't-
and exactly, and that's the beauty of baseball. That's why you like those like Hallmark teams that might like when the Royals or the Nationals win it. But it's like in football, you all get the same money, all get the same resources, and we can't add. Like we can't count it up. We can't
Nope.
figure it out. And it's like, you're right. It does start with Haslam's hiring process, but it's like, what do I truly think it is? You hire a football guy in the room. He says, that's dumb. You don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, oh, I'll show you. I'll show you, because he's a spoiled, rich crybaby, trust fund baby.
You fire him, and then he goes and rebuilds it again in
At another
Detroit.
team.
Just like he built the Chiefs,
The Chiefs.
Super Bowl dynasty. He got us almost to the finish line, and now he's building another dynasty in Detroit. So get a front row seat to greatness as we just continue to fumble the ball. Now, back to,
that was a good talk, though, guys.
the Sunday Football Review.
It literally started, that conversation started because you were talking about Baltimore and Pittsburgh, not
Yeah,
even
two
us.
Great franchises.
Not even our
Looking
team.
at the Ravens, who is our team, left us continued greatness, and we can't recreate it.
That's what's sad. It's our old team. Oh,
No, it was. Now it's their team. We had it for like 5 years after, and by now, we got to live with the team we now have.
Vikings, Titans.
Vikes.
Vikings should roll through the Titans.
I'm curious who's starting for Tennessee. I'm wondering if it's Rudolph or Will Levis.
Ooh, yeah. Colts, Jets.
I hope the Colts win. Fuck Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry. I'm not
Low-key,
sorry.
I want it to be the Jets. I feel bad. The Jets I put in our boat. They just can't get their feet under them. 3-7, 4-6. I mean, you're looking at pretty even.
Well, you got two elite quarterbacks playing against each other. You got Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers.
two previously. elite
they got
quarterbacks.
some gray in their beard. That's for sure.
Boy, do they. Falcons, Broncos.
I'm going
Man.
Denver.
Here's the thing.
Falcons.
I'm shocked Denver, has held on to the season as well as they have. A pretty solid 500 season, and the
Their defense
Falcons-
bails them out a lot.
But again,
In a good way. In a
think
good way.
about the
That's
Falcons
not
versus the Buccaneers. They're not just a team that they are the better team. The Falcons
Oh, yes.
should win. They are the better team. If I was going to put my money on somebody, it would be the Falcons. But the Broncos have shown that they're not a team you could just forget about. Seahawks, 49ers.
I'm gonna go San Fran. 49ers.
San Francisco, I think, is the better team.
I think this will be the first McCaffrey big game.
I'd like to see that, but I really do think the Seahawks are going to pull it out. You're in San Francisco, so obviously the favor leans towards the 49ers. But, the Seahawks, the few losses that they've got, they about 500 as well, 450. Looking at what they're doing, they still aren't losing like they're getting walloped.
No.
They're hanging in there. So
They're that division's Tampa Bay. You've lost a lot of one-score games.
yes.
You've been on a lot of these games, just haven't pulled them out.
So I think that'll be a good 4:00 game. Chiefs, Bills, really great.
Hell
game.
yeah.
Man, if I could hold out for somebody to break this streak.
I think they are.
9-0 makes my stomach turn.
I
dude.
do think it's going to be Buffalo.
I really hope so.
Somebody
could take it from them, it would be them.
I looked into it. It's like the Chiefs have the lowest positive scoring margin by any undefeated team this long into a season in like NFL history.
Really?
They're only like their point differential, I think, is like plus 50, and like they're 9-0. And it's like they remind me so much, and I think they're a better team than this team, but they remind me so much of Pittsburgh a few years ago when we beat them in the playoffs. And they started 11-0, and then they lost the last 5, and then lost to us. They kind of remind me of that. The only difference is the Chiefs have that fourth quarter magic.
It's it.
And that's their biggest. I'm sure in the fourth quarter, their point differential is probably where the bulk of it lies. But I'm taking Bills.
I got to tell you, the Chiefs, they're going to have a tougher time because their roster MVP is out for this game. They're not playing this game. It's the
home, is this a bit?
Refs.
This is a bit.
The home team refs aren't playing.
Their
today.
12th man isn't on the field. Their
So
12th man.
they're actually
Dude, they're
gonna
going to
win.
throw a consequential penalty against Buffalo at the end and give it to Chiefs the winner. Be like, we got you. We got you. We got on the.
We weren't here.
We got on the bus. We couldn't take the charter jet. Sorry.
I'm really hoping the Bills pulls this one out. I'm looking forward to watch it. But man, those Chiefs haven't
lost.
And for our Sunday night football game, this is going to line up with my parlay pick, hoping for the best. I think Burrows can really throw and toss them on him. But the Chargers, they are the stronger on paper team, but the Bengals are barely losing.
The Bengals are like
barely.
Seattle. It's Seattle
Yes.
and Tampa Bay. Like a lot of one-score losses. A lot of like really back-breaking losses too. I'm going with the bunghole Bengals this week too. I think they're
I
going to
hope
do.
so, man. I really, really hope so. That's just kind of, I think we got.
We
our
okay.
confidence bodies.
We got to tone it down. We are talking way too fucking positively about the
rest of our
Bengals,
division.
the Steelers, and the Ravens, and we look at Browns like, Jameis Anus, like, let's see what he does. Like,
It's been a rough season, dude.
I have never felt so deflated like
Yeah.
this long into a season. I'm like, it's like the Democrats. The joy is gone. You got to start the rebuild. You got to start from get your boots laced up and get back out there. You got to start.
An AOC, baby.
You do. Like I've never felt the joy's gone. The joy. I don't know when the last time it was there, but it's gone.
Monday Night Football.
Please kick
Texans, Cowboys.
Please kick the Cowboys' ass on Monday
Why
night.
are they playing the
Better.
two Texas teams? That's stupid.
Because they're both located
What
there.
are you talking
So, why do we play Cincinnati? What the hell are we doing here? What are we
No,
doing?
they're
I
putting
don't get
two
it, dog.
Texas teams on the Monday night. That's dumb.
What?
Only Texas cares about Texas.
I mean,
guess what, Doug? That's 50% of the broadcasting in America, moron.
Dallas. I'm loving these primetime Dallas stoppings that they're getting. It has been such a joy to watch that fucking team because they're always on prime time, whether it's the 4 o'clock, late 8 o'clock Sunday slate or the Monday night. I cannot wait to watch Jerry's decrepit pterodactyl looking ass just bury his franchise that he won. Remember when Troy Aikman won those Super Bowls? Jerry does. And Jerry really wants them to come back. I am so glad that every time this year they've been on it, you pay Dak a lot of money. And Dak's not even playing. This isn't even a disrespect to Dak, but walk your loser out there and watch him get stopped. I hope it's a 3-touchdown blowout just so they can pan it to Jerry and his trust fund baby son just going like, Dad, do you remember the 90s? Do you remember the 90s, Dad? Eating member berries up there just for him to go on his local talk show radio host and be like, Jerry, what's with all the picks? Like, I can make a phone call and get you fired. Your team still sucks, Jerry. Like, if that makes you feel like you got a little bit of power, more power to you, man.
You are still the last
People in Dallas, they're not saying this out loud, but they can't wait till he dies.
I mean, I don't get how they
Cannot wait till he dies. I guarantee you, if you go down in the nitty gritty, they're like, please croak. Please croak. And don't give it to one of your kids, even though it's written in the will. You want to talk about families that are owning franchises forever. That fucking franchise is owning this goddamn thing. His grandson right now is like, he wishes he was Barron Trump going like, no, draft this guy, draft that guy. But he's probably like 8. He doesn't know any better. Hate Jerry Jones, hate Dallas. They probably have 3 more primetime games this year, and Dak's not in any of them. They're going to get stomped. They're going to get mollywopped. And then next year, give them 3. Give them a Thursday, a Sunday, and a Monday. That's what you get, Jerry. But they'll get like 9 again. Oh, I'm taking Houston. Sorry. That's my pick.
Speaking of Jerry Jones, I don't know if you saw the Tyson fight, which was also in Texas, but
That's how he's trying to rebuild his brand, by the way.
that was so goofy. Like, of all commentators for a boxing match, you have the old football team owner.
He was up there with who? Michael Irvin? Yeah, Michael Irvin and Jerry
Cedric
Jones.
the Entertainer.
You know what? Funny enough, everyone else in this country seemed to have a rough time watching the fight. Alexander and I had a couple of nice drinks at a bar. Not a single buffer. Got to hear every
That's
word
why
too.
I brought it up. I was getting to that. Is you bring in Jerry Jones because clearly he has nothing to do with boxing. It's his stadium, and we're flirting with the idea of let's see if Netflix can prove themselves to have the capability to broadcast football in the future, right? Like if Amazon Prime,
like Christmas this year.
like if Amazon Prime's doing it, and all these other programs, NBC, Peacock, Paramount. Why wouldn't Netflix want to get in on the game?
I don't blame them.
That's big money, and everybody has a Netflix account. So This would be huge. It'd be revolutionary. However, they showed even with the billions of dollars they're playing with, they still don't have the infrastructure to handle broadcasting live at such a massive scope.
They went too big, too
Yeah.
early. They went too big, too early. I kudos to them for trying, but they went, it's like did not expect the traffic. And it's like, fortunately, they had to box on Friday night because Saturday nights were reserved for the actual fighting. So couldn't even get the Saturday night slate. But I would have loved if he had like a Joe Biden moment when he was up there. He's like, Jerry, how, like, man, I've been a fan of fighting for years. I remember when Cassius Clay was fighting and people were like, Muhammad Ali. Yeah, well, before he was Muhammad Ali, and be like, oh, you freaking fossil. I bet you do.
Well, dude, I had to like pause the live stream for like 10 minutes to let it like load so I could actually watch.
That is
Anytime I
so
tried
sad.
to watch live,
That is
it
so
just
sad.
sucked. Yeah, it was bad.
And
But
again, that's going to cripple them for football.
well, yeah, this Christmas, I'm worried. I'm worried about what this Christmas football games
why
are going
don't
to
you
be.
elaborate?
Yeah,
Doug?
what is
Just
that?
keep talking about fucking Christmas. Is Santa coming?
No,
Do
that's
you got
gonna
a
be
Santa
on
movie you're looking
Netflix.
forward to?
Christmas has the Netflix, or Netflix has the Christmas
Doug's,
games.
Doug's gonna text you on Christmas and be like, the game's buffering and I got coal. What the hell is today all about?
What are you talking about, Doug?
Who's playing?
Well, I don't know who's playing. I don't know that off the top of my head, but I know
I'm looking this up.
What are
Netflix
you trying
is
to say? That there's a
Netflix
game
is
on
streaming the
Christmas?
Christmas games. There are 2 Christmas games this year. Netflix is streaming them. You didn't know that?
No, Doug, I didn't know that. I didn't
You
even know
are
they
one of a kind.
Dude, I didn't even know they were doing the Tyson fight until like 2 days before. I was like, oh, it's on Netflix.
So NFL fans are worried because, the last
paywall.
What game is it? Is it like freaking Jacksonville versus New England? Who cares?
I think it is some crappy teams. If I recall.
Like, give them the shit team. Like, switch that.
So on Christmas itself, they're going to be doing. I'm seeing Devontae Adams. So it's got to be Vikings, Raiders.
No, if it's Adams, it's going to be the
49ers,
Jets.
and Lions.
If it's Devontae Adams, it's probably the Jets. When was this article written?
Netflix has been. The NFL's best pass catchers through 2023 season.
It will be Chiefs versus Steelers, Ravens versus Texans.
Fix your shit, dude. Fix your shit. If those are the 2 games, Netflix, I'm looking at you. I don't know who the owner is. Fix it. Because I didn't care if it buffered during the boxing match. We all knew what that was.
Yeah, no one
If
cares.
those 2 games are buffering,
Wait,
so many
what are
people.
they?
It was like Chiefs, Steelers, and what was the other one?
It is
Chiefs Steelers is huge.
Chiefs, Steelers, and Ravens, Texans.
You're going to have those 2 games buffer? Probably 4 playoff teams playing each other. Probably for the conference for a couple of them.
Right.
Chiefs will already have it in the bag, but like Pittsburgh and Baltimore, regardless of how this results of today's games are, they're not going to be losing much more after this. They're going to be still fighting to get in that. Especially the loser of that game, of today's game, is really going to need to win that game. Let alone like just buffering. Like buffering. I could turn on Peaky Blinders, no buffer. I can't watch this. Netflix.
Figure it out.
You have a month and like 6 weeks to figure this out before you think you got backlash for the Mike Tyson fight. Dude drove out there with a dove in the back of his car. Nobody cares. That game, oh yeah, we're going to care. I want to see Netflix and the referees give the Chiefs a late dramatic win and just be like, oh, it's the football gods, but I want it to buffer right when it does that.
Well, that's how Gene Steratore will be able to hide all of their false, play calls. Oh! I guess he must have fumbled.
Dude, imagine it buffering during Gene explaining it. Just, I'm still stuck on Gene. His face is still on the screen. I can't even look at the field.
He never stepped out of bounds. Why'd they call it out of bounds?
Well,
It's just spinning wheel.
And then it just comes back.
Dude, when it was buffering for me, the audio was going. It was the video that froze too, which was even more annoying because I could hear what they're saying, but I'm like, I want to see the punch you just called.
That is my own personal hell. I can't see it, but I can hear it.
Right.
I'd rather not see either. Just don't even show me it. Pow! And Tyson hit it with a righty.
I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I want to see this. Damn it!
Oh God!
Yeah, that's terrible. All right, let's wrap this bad boy up.
Go to the Monday
looking
night.
at last week's
What's the Monday night?
pick so you could play along
Oh,
with
wait.
us. Last week's parlay was a stinker.
Stinky
Doug was the only
boy.
one that won. His Jared Goff pick came out clutch.
Woo.
But Will and I were big old losers. Baker didn't make his two touchdown passes. and Devon A-Chain didn't find himself in the end zone. So as a result, first we got to do our punishment.
All right, I need to stand.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, these chairs, you can't go off the side of them. It's like you're stuck in there. It's like the captain's chair.
The captain's chair. Well, lovely. They're too sweet. That's the problem.
Chug, 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 chug. I wish we had a timer we could just put in the corner. Man, Gurgat's going hard. Oh, wow. Gurgat. Bravo.
We fight for you. Hey, he finished it. I'll give him that.
All right.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Again, there is an incentive in the studio here for us to bring home
Can
a
we,
win for you with these parlays.
Do we want to, since we have enough time, do we want to do a Browns prediction? Do we want to do a Browns score prediction?
Go for it. What's your prediction?
I'm doing 27-17 Browns.
All right.
Oh.
I'll go with that. I'm going to go with 24-17 Browns.
Okay.
That's just
Okay.
I'm seasoning it with a field goal.
21-13
There's gonna be one
Browns.
failed attempt.
There's going to be one failure, Doug. What'd you say?
Actually,
21-13
because I'm going to get a field goal, but there will be one missed extra point. Let's look at our parlay picks this week so you can play along with us because I think we got a winner in the bag. At least I hope so because I don't want to do that again. Now I got to go play golf with a sick stomach. Doug went with Derrick Henry, anytime touchdown. I'm going to go with 250-plus yards passing by Joe Burrow against the Chargers. And then Will's feeling confident with 250-plus passing yards by Josh Allen against the undefeated Chiefs. That's an uphill battle, but it'll pay out big. So, $5 get you 28. Play along with us because we're invested in bringing you home a win.
We're invested with throws up on camera.
It really is. It sits in you heavy. So, guys, thanks for waking up and having some fun with us on a Sunday. If you didn't watch it, go ahead and click on before us. We did the rethink actions. We did some funny internet videos and, man, woke up starting our day off with some good laughs. So if you haven't checked that out, but otherwise have a fun full day of football. And we got our live shows on Tuesdays, new podcast episodes, and new So Here's Where I'm At episodes coming. And so if you're looking for one central place where you can get everything, it's at our website at www.rethinktankpodcast.com. But otherwise, guys, enjoy your football Sunday, and we'll catch you next week.